and it takes, I got the recipe and it didn't always work for me, so I just made you want to cut this at 8, you need 8 tablespoons of butter, and you save the 2 tablespoons because you have to melt a teaspoon of butter for each one of the pies. And I was at Letha's house, my friend Letha's house, and her daughter's mother-in-law had baked us a pie to serve us, and her pie was all shiny. And I said, "How'd you get that pie shiny?" She said, "I put butter in it." All my pies were all dull, weren't shiny. But now the rest pecan pie recipes just tell you to put. So I'm going to put this 8 tablespoons, and if you keep your ingredients cold for your pie crust, that's what makes it crisp. So I'm going to cut these in small pieces, because I'm going to take a fork and mash it all together so that the butter doesn't look like butter and the flour doesn't look like flour. It doesn't look like flour. So if you cut them in smaller pieces, it's easier to mix them all together.
Sorry.
Hi, come in. Good to see you, Jenny. It takes a little time. It takes a little time to do this, but I'd rather do this than get the food processor out. And the food processor does more. There's another stool back there in the back, I think. Oh, they're right there. So you have to cut these in smaller pieces because it'd be too hard. The butter has to be cold, and it'd be too hard to incorporate, which means mix. Didn't know whether I was supposed to use that word or not, but it's mix. When you listen to those cooking schools, that's what they say, incorporate, and I've heard that so much till. And it takes 1 teaspoon of salt. And what did we do with the teaspoon?
I think I put it back in the drawer.
There you go.
But I put a scant teaspoon because I don't want too much salt. And I was thinking I almost got too much salt. But if you put too much salt, you can't take it out. But if it's not enough, you can always put more. So do you see how this looks? It looks floury and chunks of butter. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you about my learning how to make pie crust. When my husband and I just married, my mother had the apple dumpling recipe had just come out. And she was making apple dumplings day in and day out. So when I got a kitchen of my own, I was going to make apple dumplings. So I could not make the pie crust where it had so much shortening in it, it had just turned to a gob. So my husband, when he'd come in from work, he would look in the trash can. He said, "I see you've been trying to make pie crust again today." So I finally learned how to make apple dumplings, and I burned him out on them. So the last time I baked them, he refused to eat it. So I took it to the neighbor And the neighbor made a chocolate pie in return, and he loved that. He said, make some more and take them over there.
Mama, it was a claw.
I can step over here so I can show you. See that flour is beginning to look, but there's all the butter is not chopped up. So let me tell you about learning to make pecan pies. When the boys were about 11 years old, I went to the neighbor's house and she served me pecan pie. And I said, oh, I need your recipe. So I started making pecan pies. That's the time I started making pecan pies. You see how I'm doing that? I'm mashing each one of those butter things up against that so I can. And you have to keep doing that until you can't see any chunks of butter in it. And this is what makes the pie crust crisp, flaky. I sit down and watch television while I'm doing it. But we won't all congregate into the bed. See, there's not quite as many lumps, but there's still some lumps. So when I get through this, I'm going to put ice water in it to bring it all together, where it looks like a clump of pie dough. And you need to use ice water. Velma, look up there for that a cup, a mug cup. And yeah. No, I just need one.
Okay, yeah, this one.
Oh, okay, okay. And get some ice out of the freezer for me, and pour a little bit of water in it so it'll be ready when I get ready.
Can I get a cup of water?
Sure, sure.
Just out of here.
The glasses are, I think there's a clean glass there. No, the other. See right on top, yeah. If she'd like to have ice in it, she can put some ice in it.
Okay. I get a little bit of ice.
Do you see that? You see that flowers doesn't look like white flowers maybe more?
And just get tap water?
Yes. So if you just kind of mash it up against the bowl. And it's best not to use whole pecans for a pecan pie because it's hard to cut the pie in pieces when the pecans are whole. So I chop them up, and if you would like the minced ones like that, well, you can buy one of these and you just turn it. And it's best not to try to do whole ones in it either, because these teeth in here are very small. So it has a cup measurements there that in ounces too, I think. You know, I don't think my mother let my twin sister and I cook. I don't remember cooking. The only thing I remember is peeling potatoes and mashing potatoes. That's the only thing. She cooked real good roast on the top of the stove, and I learned that from her. They can put in us a salt water in this.
Or you want me to do it while you,
What?
you want me to do that while you?
No, I made that chocolate cake and I bought a pie, a cake mix. And I got that thing mixed up and it was just nothing to it. And so one day while I was going to leave this house, I stopped at Walmart, and I always go to the book section while I'm resting. And I found this book, how to make pie mixes better, cake mixes better. So I just got that book out and looked in it, and the mix just called for 3 eggs, and so but this recipe called for 4, so I put another egg in it. And it called for sour cream, but I didn't have sour cream, so I didn't put sour cream in it. And then it said a half a cup of hot water. And Lisa and I discovered that if you put hot water in your your cake batter, it makes it lighter. It makes the cake lighter. So when I put that in the oven, I looked at it, and the thing was almost over the top. That's. Oh, and it also called for a half a cup of chocolate chips, so I just put chocolate chips in it. You see now that you can see less and less of and the flowers begin to look like meal. But the purpose is you're not going to get all of that. You're not going to get rid of that cold butter. So it's going to be there. It's just your pie dough is not going to have one big clump of butter in one spot. So that's. See, there's less and less big pieces. I almost got those 2 pies. Oh, I didn't put the shortening in it. It calls for 2 tablespoons of shortening, and the shortening, the 8 tablespoons of butter is not enough to make the pie dough. So it called for, where's that? There. Let me have that. So it called for 2 tablespoons of Crisco. I was about to forget that. You know, we'd have had a bone pie. This will make it easier. This Crisco, and used to, Crisco is the only thing you ever made pie crust out of. And I got it all done, and I thought, you know, that looks like it needs a little bit more Crisco. And I almost got too much. And if you get too much, you can't roll the pie dough out. You can't roll it out into a flat, because it won't move. It just has too much starch in it. Oh, I thought, I'm sure glad I remember that. We would have had a bust. So this Crisco makes it crisp too. The butter is not as, doesn't have the substance to it like Crisco. See there, how that looks more and more mealy? Elaine, she never could get her pie crust just right, and so she called me one day and said, "Tell me how you make a pie crust." And I told her just how I did it. And she did it, and she said, "Oh, my pie crust was so much better." And you see, there's no, it doesn't look like flour, and it doesn't look like butter either.
Here, Grandma, hold it up. Let me take a picture. Right, look.
Oh, yeah.
Did everybody see that? I'm standing in Ruby's way. I'm gonna play like that's just enough. Now, you can taste of it to see if it has the right amount of sugar in it, if you want to. I mean, salt. And I usually do that, but I won't do it today. I guess I
What
could.
would it taste like if it tasted right?
Well, it wouldn't taste salty. It wouldn't, if he had too much, it tastes like he had too much salt. Or you could tell if it doesn't, it's supposed to have some salt in it, and you can tell if,
So when it has too much salt, you have to start over?
yeah, yeah, your pie crust would just be salty. Now, I'm going to, I don't need this much water, so I'm gonna pour some of it out. Oh, I'm gonna drink it. No, I don't guess I will drink it. So I'm gonna do this tablespoon at a time. And what did I do with my tablespoon? Y'all have to keep up with me.
On this side? No.
It's under.
Here it is.
A big one.
And let me get it over here so I can show you. Shonda, there's another isn't there a seat back there? Shonda, there's a seat back there if you want. The recipe calls for 5. The recipe I was working with long ago, but 5 tablespoons is not enough. Evidently I'm using more flour than what that recipe called for. And you have to be careful not to get too much water. If you get too much water, it's gonna be like clay. It's not gonna be, you just wanna put enough water in there so that you don't see the flour, barely see the flour. And it holds together enough that you can take your hand and mash it together to make a ball of pie dough. So I don't usually put a cup and 3/4. I usually do about a cup and a half. But I wanted to make sure I had enough pie dough. Do you see how that's kind of collecting together? See, it's kind of collecting together.
So the water is just like a glue, is gluing it,
Yes.
it's holding it together?
Yes.
And the water's got ice in it, huh?
Yes, yeah,
Just
it's
all
use,
water.
yeah, use all ice because that's what makes the pie crust crisp, flaky. I keep saying crisp, but I mean flaky. Now you wanna do just enough that there's not any flour looking substance. But you have to keep mixing it because there's water in this dough that you're turning around. So that crumbly stuff that's in there is gonna finally catch on to that dough that it's already caught to it. So if there's this much that's not folding into it, you need to put just a little bit more water in it. I think this is gonna do it. You see it's getting gluier and gluier, it's getting to where it's and then, when you get most of it together, you know what? One time I didn't put enough water in it, and it wouldn't roll out because wasn't enough. It was too dry. I think I'll put one more in there. So see that looks still kind of floury right there. You see all of it, that you don't see any specks of flour in there, do you? See, all the flour is mixed. There's no, now there is a little bit, but when you take your hand and, you have to take your hand and knead it. Till you get it into a ball.
You girls know what that is? Like when you're playing with Play-Doh?
Pushing together.
Yeah.
Yeah, you knead bread, it's kind of like kneading bread.
And the warmth of your hand kind of melts a little bit,
Well,
huh,
yeah.
grandmother?
Yeah, you need, but this is really cold. So you just keep turning it till you gather up all the little pieces. And you have your pie dough. Now the reason I make the pie dough first is the instructions on every pie crust, it says put it in the refrigerator for an hour or so, and I don't do it for an hour. And I never used to do that, and I always, made, but I started doing it. So this is pie, this is dough for 2 pies. So I'm going to half it. And the reason I do this first, I was going to say, is I can mix my pie up while the dough is getting cold. So if I do this first, then
And it'll be ready.
so and I'm going to put it in a piece of plastic. And you can just saran wrap around it. And I usually have little pieces of saran wrap since I wash my saran wrap. And Wendy makes fun of me because I wash my saran wrap. But I'd a lot rather pick up a piece of saran wrap out of the box, out of the drawer, than take out the box. And besides, look at the money I'm saving. I don't buy very many boxes of saran wrap. So that goes in the refrigerator while we make our. And this is a metric wonder cup. is this, didn't I buy this, Wendy, from you when you what
Paper
is,
chef.
this is, so I'm gonna put it on 1 ounce. And I'm gonna pour a cup of syrup in it. Velma,
Yes, ma'am.
come open this up. I don't know whether I have,
Girl, you can
opened it.
unscrew that red lid off of it. And then just pour it instead of squeezing it.
Wendy, I'm so glad you're here. It's not near as much work.
It's looking painful over here.
Besides that, you're ready to eat pie. Just have to get this. Okay. Now it calls for 3 eggs. And you know, for years, the cake recipe said, make your eggs, have your eggs room temperature, and I never used to do that. And I have a little cup here. I thought I had a little cup here.
A little silver cup.
No, crack my egg. And
Yeah, that's right there.
long years ago, you had to. Long years ago, you had to make sure you didn't have rotten eggs, so you'd break it into a separate thing, or you put it into your pie thing. But I don't think you have to worry about that now. But I still do it, and I'll fish out the little white stuff. That doesn't look too bad. I'm putting that in there.
And we always had to do that because when we had chickens, you didn't know how long the eggs had been sitting there, so you always break them in a bowl first. And if they're old, then it spreads, and you can tell, and then you won't use them in your baking and stuff.
Well, you know, I read too that if you want to know if an egg is fresh or not, it'll float in water.
It does. If it's rotten, it'll come to the top.
Mm.
We did that with my niece's eggs. We went through her refrigerator, so I showed her that, and all her eggs, except for maybe 3 of them, floated to the top. So
It takes 3 eggs.
Another way to tell if your eggs are rotten is if your omelet tastes really bad.
If you're what?
Omelet tastes really bad.
Oh.
A little too late.
I know, right? Exactly. You might want to do that a little bit beforehand. Apparently that's happened to you before.
I know my up at the grocery store, they must have eggs,
Make sure they're not broken.
no broken.
That's all right, Stephanie. That's good.
So you take your fork now and put these eggs.
See, Miss Shirley, thank you, that's a hand mixer right
Yeah.
there.
Then we want 1 cup of sugar. Now, you want to take a big spoon and make sure that your
Miss Shirley.
okay. Make sure that the sugar is melted, because these eggs are not really liquidy. So you have to just quick it and quick it and quick it. And several times I've poured it into the pie crust, and there's sugar in the bottom of it, so you don't know, you're gonna pile all that sugar right in one spot. So I've been behaving myself. So we're gonna take this, and look at this, isn't this neat?
Where did you get that from?
Miss Wendy.
That glass?
Paper chef.
Pampered Chef.
Oh, that is cool.
So you don't have to keep scraping off your cup and then just do like that.
And then your dried ingredients can go on the inside and you just pour them out. The same concept.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. So, oh yeah, we need a teaspoon of vanilla. So I'm gonna do my teaspoon of vanilla. Oh, thank you. Ellen Perkins and her girls went on a cruise, and they were in Mexico, and Ellen bought me one of those big bottles of Mexican vanilla. Oh, it's wonderful, and you don't have to pay $1.50 for a little bitty thing. In fact, I don't have to pay anything for it. I was so proud of that. I just was so proud of that.
You've already used it all?
No,
Oh.
I keep putting it in the smaller one, so I don't have to do that. Shauna, what are you doing in there? So now we're going to start on the measurement of a cup of sugar, please. Yes, I never can screw the top off of these syrup bottles. I usually try to get somebody when they come that's stronger than I am. Watch the big fat yolk. One of these pies over here had double yolks in it.
Hey, Velma.
I couldn't get open a container of bathroom cleaner, and Scott came over. I could not figure out how to get that thing open so it would spray. It'd just go and nothing come out. So he was out the door, and I said, "Wait a minute, come back. I need for you to tell me how to get this open to spray." And he just mashed down on the top of it. I'm just not very bright at all. Yes. Oh, but I want a K-roll of about right here. I made, well, no, just eyeball it.
Okay.
I made a pie for Wendy, and I did not have enough K-roll syrup. So I had some, I want.
Okay. So you want all
Oh,
of this
yeah.
and then just a little bit of that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So, everybody liked it, and I thought, well, I'm gonna try that again.
So about a third a cup?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. So there's, it says put a little bit of salt in it, but I don't put salt in it.
You're the next Paula Deen. You need to get the cameras in here. You know, she cooks in her own kitchen.
I didn't see you slip in. Hey, good. What did I do with my big spoon?
It's in the other one.
Oh, thank you.
It looks so pretty together in the dark and the light.
This circle.
Now, how many of you want to bake one, or is it easy for you to go buy one?
Oh, there's no
No
comparison.
comparison or
They're, they have the consistency of cake, not pie. I took a pie somewhere, and they said, Carol Clary, and it's for her Christmas supper, and said, this is not a bought pie. Who made it?
they knew.
And I usually mix the pecans when I'm doing this. But I decided I would wait, well, I don't know why, but think that the pecans wouldn't be as crisp if they sat in this mixture. But I don't know that it makes much difference, so we won't forget to put them in there. I'm gonna stir this. Can you see sugar in the bottom of that? Mm-hmm. I stir it. And I used to put 1.5 cups pecans in the pecan pie, and it kind of reduced the filling part. So I thought, and one time I didn't put it but 1 cup, and the filling, it had more filling instead of the pecans taking up all the space. So I'm just gonna put,
So, just a question, is there any way you can use less sugar for it? And it still be the
yeah,
same?
do you know what, you can, I didn't know it, but I was in the grocery store and one of my friends said she couldn't find the K-Rose syrup. And when I went and found the K-Rose syrup and took it to her, on the bottle it said low, what is it in syrup? What is sugar made of?
Glucose.
The glucose.
Yes, it was low glucose.
I know also that you can use agave sweetener and you can get a
Oh, okay,
better alternative.
okay.
And then when also you read the different forms, like on a lot of the Splenda ones, it'll tell
And
you
I
the
didn't know you could buy K-Rose syrup with low
low
glucose.
glucose. Here we go.
Would it affect, low glucose, would it affect the sweetness?
Mm-mm, no,
No, not the sweeteners that they have now.
no, it's not gonna.
Sometimes they're even sweeter tasting.
I always like to hear what my grandma used to say about when you learn how to do substitute different things, just always think back and think, anything natural that's God grown, you can't go wrong, period. So go back to that
Okay,
and go to the moderation, right?
Velma, you can take all this stuff off of here now if you want to, because I'm through with all that now. Please.
You're gonna roll out the
Yes,
red crust,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
You have a perfect kitchen for this right now.
Yeah, my island sits farther under this thing, but I had Danny, move it back here so there'd be more room for me to sit.
Yeah. You can move the island?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of them aren't permanent to the floor and they can be specific. Those crusts look really good.
Now I sanitized this island. Didn't have anything set on it, but I,
Like they say, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
well, I got to think, those women are gonna see me putting this pie dough on this counter and they're gonna think, I wonder if that's clean.
I think we can tell by your house that everything's clean.
Oh,
Judy.
okay.
Can you help the floor here?
Now, I can take them. Boy, I'm sure glad you came, Bill. Reach in that bottom drawer for the roller, under the stove.
You know that rolling pin is Kaylin's favorite tool.
No.
I made the masa for the tortillas and right away she starts making her tortillas.
So you want to roll your pie dough out as thin as you can get it, and I'll always roll until I can see the design of the. When I can see the design, I know it's. You want to kind of mold this into a round, and knead it with your hands. And you have to, some of that butter is going to stick on this right here, so you need to get it all smooth again. All right, do you see, now I didn't do this wrong on purpose. There was a hole in the pie dust, in the pie crust right there, and some of the filling leaked out of it. So if you have a hole in your pie crust, your filling is gonna leak out before, oh, turn that oven on, please. Hit bake, and then hit 350. I heard an idea on some kind of program saying if you'll bake your pie crust on 350 for about 20 minutes, that allows that bottom crust to, that the pie, all the pies,
So it won't leak out.
no,
Crunchy.
it'll get good and done. It won't be
Yeah,
hardly
it'll bake
done.
better. Okay.
They have you do that with the graham cracker crust that you buy from the store. You
Yeah.
take a oat yolk
Yeah,
and spread it over there and then bake it for a little bit because then it makes it hard. So when you put whatever in there, it doesn't get soggy.
Yes.
Okay, I have that. It looks like it's gonna make a perfectly round. And also, I heard on the television that if you want to come out with a round pie dough, you keep changing directions. Now it looks like it's sticking on that side, so there's more butter there. So I'm gonna
One of the handy tips I saw one day on Rachel Ray's show was she put her pie in the crust, between the plastic sheets or parchment, and that way you don't have to worry about nothing
Yeah.
sticking.
Yeah, that's. This way you kind of keep your roller. Oh, now let's not do that.
I have to whisper to it real nice. You can tell you have done that a lot, Miss Shirley. You really did.
It just really takes practice,
Oh,
and then you don't. This side's not good. See, it wasn't moving on that, it wasn't moving on the surface. Well, we're off again. It says just the right amount of butter and Crisco in it. See how easy it is? Hand me that pie plate, because I think it's a little bit bigger, and this looks like it's, the other one may not be. Now, to get it in the pie plate, but see, I can't see I can almost see all the, can you see that? Can you see?
Yeah.
So you're gonna, pick up some of it.
Beautiful.
I never knew that.
So then you can just pick it up and put it anywhere on that pie plate. And if you see that it's not as much flowing over, and sometimes, and I always have to, is my little knife, where's my little knife? I cut some of the extra off, so if I need it in one other spot, I can paste it. So, you want to flip this up and make sure the pie dough goes into that bend. You see what I'm doing? You see? I'm flipping this up and making sure that, because if you don't do that, then your pecan pie is not going to be level. See there? See when I punch that? It's not deep into the, you have to go all the way around and make sure
Aren't you clever?
So you wanna have enough that you can stack up so you can flute it. Make a pretty design on it. This is really a good pie crust because it's very pliable. It's not stiff and
And you work quickly enough to where it doesn't get too warm, that's keeping it cold.
And also I read if your pie crust is not doing just right, put it back in the refrigerator and let it stay for a little while.
Do you want me to put that other ball back in the refrigerator?
You might do that because I might have a little bit more.
Keeping it cold, keeps the butter in there from
So now then I have it all stacked up here and I'm ready for the artist. For the artistry. I didn't used to turn. My mother never turned it, she just mashed it down. But I saw someone making a pie and they twisted their thumb and I thought, hey, that's pretty good, I'll do that.
There's so many cool different ways. My grandma taught me to take your thumb and fingers and do like that.
Make that bevel.
Oop. Just got a hole in it.
Let's see.
It's the thought that counted.
Right.
Now I usually leave,
Grandma, move that pie roller out of the way.
I usually leave little bits of crust hanging down so when the kids come, this crust is already cooked and they like it. I don't want it. On the oven floor though. That's what I gave Velma while I go to eat.
That was good.
That's not fair.
Life ain't fair, I don't know why you even said that. It's okay.
Quit talking.
Oh, okay, so you ain't getting them.
See, there's a hole. Why don't you tell me there's a hole there?
Yeah.
Sorry, this could be a job.
So I guess you could just keep doing this all day if you wanted to.
Right? Have to get it cold every few minutes.
Okay. Okay, Velma, you can put this pie over there close to where the oven is.
Okay, then.
Same song, second verse.
Want me to put it in there so it's like.
No, okay, we'll put it both at the same time. So we don't have to keep two different times. So I'm gonna, when I get the pies in the oven, I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes. Then we'll eat desserts while the pies are cooked. Did Reba have to leave? Oh, I'm sorry. It's gonna make a nice round. Those pie crusts, they were all kind of shapes. There were jagged one.
Yeah, but you can tell they're homemade.
Oh.
You have more love.
Good food's not usually pretty.
Tastes good.
You don't want too much flour on it either. Right, now you have to move. Can't sit there.
Me?
No, I'm talking about that. That was quite appropriate, wasn't it? I can understand why she thought I was talking to her.
In order for a pie to taste good, you have to talk to it.
My mother always says she talks to her plants because it helps them grow better. She's out there watering and she's telling them what to do. I've heard that too. They are living things. Right.
I'm talking myself.
That's okay.
They have intelligence though. You've heard about dogs whose owners passed out and they, did I hear one of them, a dog dial 911?
There was one time an owner passed out, and then she said, go get the phone, and the
Oh,
dog brought the phone to her.
Oh,
That
okay.
was a recent story.
Now that was stretching it for a dog to dial 911.
Sounded good.
Well, my dog's his grandmother.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay, I think that's,
Bless you. Oh, now you say bless you.
That wasn't me.
Oh, she sneezed. I said, now you say bless you.
this is gonna be way too big for that pie, but that's all right. I had to slide that rolling pin towards you so it'll fit, the pie crust will fit close to the rolling pin. All right. You didn't do that.
Do y'all know why she puts the flour on it while she's rolling it?
So let's see.
Yeah.
No, it just, the pie dough is sticky. Oblong. You don't want oblong. When do you want to start the coffee pot?
It's already done.
Oh, it's already done.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna do it again.
There, we're kind of shy right there.
Who taught you your pie making, Miss Shirley, when you were a young girl?
No one.
Really?
No
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, you didn't have.
You didn't hear my story.
Oh, okay,
Oh.
what is that?
When my husband and I first married, my mother baked pies all the time. She baked, and so that's when the apple dumplings first, the recipe for apple dumplings first came out.
Uh-huh.
So she made apple dumplings for everybody. So when we married and I got a kitchen, I was going to make apple dumplings. But I didn't know how to make a pie crust, and my husband would come home from work and see the wad of dough in the trash can and say, "Well, I see you've been trying to make pie crust today." So really, it just really is trial and error.
Yeah, you're right.
This is not. This is not big enough right here. I need to make it round. So you're gonna double this dough up right on that rim. You don't wanna double it really big.
Stephanie's over here getting a free massage.
And you can mash the bottom up to the sides too. You see that if you have long fingernails, you have to make sure you don't. Sean, I worry about your standing over there. I usually bake, when I bake pie, I bake 2 of them, because it doesn't take much longer to do. Of course, you may not think it takes much longer. So number doesn't want to mind. a spot that's not, close to the, curve, so I have to. Okay, we're ready to pour the filling in there.
You don't bake the pie crust first before you do that?
No.
Oh, okay, I thought she said you did.
No,
Only thing you have to do cream pies, you have to do those ahead of time.
I'm talking about when you get them in the oven,
Uh-huh.
you start at 350.
Oh, okay.
So that the heat from the bottom
Okay.
will
Oh, okay.
make sure you get the bottom crust done. Oh, I didn't put her, I didn't put my pepper in here. You wouldn't shine.
We don't want it dull.
No, I don't know. I'm gonna turn that off, I don't want the,
Stay over.
thing outdoors go off.
Oh, power surge?
Yeah.
Oh.
Come on.
She turned off the oven, she was running the microwave.
Sadie, just
It's well, it pulls too much on some of them, on some houses and stuff.
Grandmother, you ought to have
Turn
Dad
that
come
back
fix it.
What now?
You ought to have Dad come fix it.
Oh, I don't know that it would do it. And then it's, but I just, when I used to have a coffee pot right there, and we ran the, whatever that thing is up there.
Microwave?
Yeah, microwave, it would jump, it would do the breaker every time. Whoever was here having coffee and dessert would have to go out there, or the mail, would have to go out there and so we could. My spatula, where's my spatula, my big spatula? Well, I almost got all the sugar out of it. Until the last drop. Put this in the sink and run hot water in it, and it'll be. There's the unbaked pie shell. Wilma, would you put these pies in the oven for me? I'm having hip problem, and when I stoop down, something bites me.
Top rack or bottom rack?
The top.
don't burn yourself. Yeah, I need you.
Okay. Maybe just move it in a little bit closer. Well, move that one that you put in there back a little, all the way back a little.
It is.
Okay.
It's in the back, all right.
Right there,
Okay.
that's perfect.
Okay.
Now, somebody can,
Yes.
serve people.
Oh.
Pies.
I'm dishes.
Easy one.
Yeah. Before y'all eat, we're gonna go take a picture real quick outside.
Just to kind of stretch your legs, let's go out in front of the garage.
Hey, Grammy, you wanna set your timer?
Yes, I do.